I want you all to imagine yourself getting ready for work. Look outside, it's pitch black, like it has been since 3 o'clock yesterday, and like it will be until 11 o'clock this morning. There's a thick fog across the road, blocking your view of the house across the street, and you can only see the amber light of the street lamp outside. This isn't the fog of a humid morning, it's the opposite. It's all of the moisture in the air getting frozen out of thin air. You reach down for the door handle to leave, and there's a thick ice formed around the base of the handle. You open the door and step outside. This isn't so bad, you naively think for a minute. Because there's no moisture, it takes a second for the cold to catch up with you. You feel it though when your first breath in, when the little hairs in your nose freeze and your lungs burn. You feel your body start to seize up as you violently shiver. When you get to your car, the seat cushion has no give. It's hard as a rock, it's frozen as well. You nervously turn on your car, hoping that it will start from sitting out all night. As you start to back out, you can feel your tires thump as they've been frozen flat on one side, and you cautiously start driving down the road because they have a tendency to implode on their own before they have a chance to thaw. Mr. Toastmaster, welcome guests, members, this is life at 40 below. As Paul mentioned, I was born and raised in the Yukon, and as such, most of my memories are of being cold. I can remember getting ready for Halloween, putting on long underwear and sweaters and snow pants and a jacket and toques and mitts and big boots, and only then having my plastic Mr. T smock with a picture of him on the front and brown face paint that would make most of us cringe today. I can remember going to Rendezvous, which is a celebration of the gold rush of 1898. It's held in the coldest month of February. It's sort of a rebellious middle finger to Mother Nature. We would go down to Main Street, outside of course, and see people chucking chainsaws and packing hundreds of pounds of flour, and see the dogs in the dog sled race take off on the longest dog sled race in the world, the Yukon Quest. As a teenager, I can remember sneaking outside to smoke cigarettes, and like teenagers everywhere, we didn't wear appropriate clothing for the weather for fear of not looking cool. So we'd all huddle around and shiver in our sweaters and shoes like a bunch of idiots. But with the extreme cold, there's a sense of community, especially when it's at its coldest. When you come to work in the morning, everyone's dressed up like they're ready to do a spacewalk as opposed to living somewhere people like to live. You all trade war stories about your hands sticking to metal as you touch things, or your car not starting in the morning. Every lunch hour, there's a migration to the parking lot as everyone goes to start their cars, because if you don't keep it warm every few hours, you're not going to get home that night. When you're driving, if you see someone on the side of the road, as long as you're not putting yourself in danger, you pull over and you pick them up. Because unfortunately, frostbite and hypothermia set in very fast, and people die every time there's a cold snap. But it isn't all doom and gloom. When you're outside going for a walk in the dead of winter, there's hardly a place more serene than being surrounded by fresh snow and a quiet that just envelops you. When you look around, there's mountainscapes that are humbling with how massive and beautiful they are. And at night, the northern lights light up the sky with vivid greens and deep, deep purples that span the entire horizon. But even with that, you can see why I chose Victoria to be my icebreaker. Thank you.